10 best places to visit in Europe plus fun facts. The appeal of a European vacation remains strong for American travelers, and while there's nothing wrong with heading straight to a Greek island beach or a vineyard villa in Tuscany, you're missing out if you don't spend at least some time soaking up the dynamic energy of the best cities in Europe. The question of whether or not travel to Europe will be possible in summer 2022 has been met with the answer we've waited for: yes. As our editors start globe-trotting once again, returning to dream destinations from the English countryside to the Sicilian coast, we've taken into account the new openings and noteworthy happenings around Europe to determine the must-visit European destinations of the year. You're guaranteed to pass through a spectacular scenery filled with rugged peaks, winding rivers, and picturesque villages. Number 10. Bay of Kotor, also known as the Boca, is a winding bay of the Adriatic Sea in southwestern Montenegro and the region of Montenegro concentrated around the bay. It is also the southernmost part of the historical region of Dalmatia. The bay has been inhabited since antiquity. Its well-preserved medieval towns of Ryazan, Tivat, Perest, Perkinj, Kotor, and Herzeg Novi, along with their natural surroundings, are major tourist attractions. Its numerous Orthodox and Catholic churches and monasteries attract numerous religious pilgrims and other visitors. The natural and cultural historical region of Kotor was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1979. Fun fact: climb to the top of fortifications of Kotor's medieval old towns for views of the bay. Purist is known for its Venetian's palazzo and architecture, while the seaside Herzeg Novi offers a pretty waterfront promenade and a picturesque old town. Our Lady of the Rocks is a church-topped artificial island, and Svelte Stefan is a former medieval fishing village turned luxury hotel connected to the mainland by a small strip of land. Another fun fact about the Bay of Kotor: Kotor Clock Tower, built in 1602. The clock tower in the center of Kotor is the focal point of the town, standing 3 stories tall with 2 clock faces. It is one of the first things people see as they enter the town through the main sea gate, combining elements of both Baroque and Gothic architecture. The tower is made of gray stone and features a coat of arms on the front of the building that belongs to the family of a Montenegrin prince from the era when it was built. On the ground level is a watchmaker shop that is said to have been there since the 17th century. In front of the tower is a small pyramid-shaped stone that served as a pillar of a shame where local criminals were once tied as punishment. Another fun fact: Our Lady of the Rocks, Gospa ad Scriptella, perched on one of the 2 small islands in the Bay of Kotor, just off the coast of Paris. The 17th century Our Ladies of the Rocks Church is a majestic sight framed by mountain peaks and cobalt blue waters. The church appears to float on the water surface and has fast become one of the Montenegro's most photographed. Number 9. Venice. Venice is a city in northeastern Italy and the capital of Veneto region. It is built on a group of 118 small islands that are separated by canals and linked by over 400 bridges. The islands are in the shallow Venetian lagoon, an enclosed bay lying between the mouths of the Po and the River, more exactly between the Brenta and the Scioto. In 2020, 258,685 people resided in the Comune di Venezia, of whom around 55,000 live in the historical city of Venice. Centro Storico, together with Padua and Treviso. The city is included in the Padua-Treviso-Venice metropolitan area, which is considered considered a statistical metropolitan area with a total population of 2.6 million. Another fun fact, there are no cars in Venice. Once you reach the city center, you won't spot any cars. Boats essentially take the place of cars in central Venice, and canals take the place of roads. Another fun fact, Venice is known for its lace and glass. Specifically, Venice's most famous handcrafted lace comes from the outlying island of Barcelona, while the best of its iconic glass is made on the outlying island of Murano. You can visit both islands today. Throughout the centuries, these artisanal products have found their way around the world, including in the hands of several monarchs, including Henry VIII, and even a handful of popes. Another fun fact, Marco Polo was a Venetian born in 1254 to a wealthy merchant family. The famous explorer Marco Polo originally hailed from the island state. During his lifetime, he spent roughly 24 years living abroad, interacting with the Mongol Empire and traveling along what is now known as the Silk Road. Eventually, he was captured by Genoa, then the arch-rival of Venice, and while imprisoned, wrote The Travels of Marco Polo, or simply The Travels. Today, while you can't go inside, you can take a tour, which takes you past Number 8, Monte Carlo. Monte Carlo is officially an administrative area of the Principality of Monaco. Specifically, the word of Monte Carlo, Spelluit, where the Monte Carlo Casino is located. Informally, the name also refers to a larger district, the Monte Carlo Quarter, corresponding to the former municipality of Monte Carlo, which besides Monte Carlo, or Spelluix, also includes the words of La Rue Saint-Romain, L'Orvato Bas Moulins, and Saint Michel. The permanent population of the ward of Monte Carlo is about 3,500, while that of the quarter is about 15,000. Monaco has 4 traditional quarters from west to east. They are Fontvieille, the newest, Monaco-Ville, the oldest, La Condamine, and Monte Carlo. Fun fact, government rules ban residents from gambling. Surprising given, Monaco is home to one of the world's most famous casinos, Monte Carlo. There are passport checks at the casino entrances, and only foreigners can enter. No one knows exactly why residents are banned from even stepping foot in a casino, but the history goes some way to explaining it. Monaco hasn't always been a refugee for the super wealthy. In the early 19th centuries, the population was made up of around 1,000 farmers. The rulers of Monaco imposed huge taxes and, faced with either a possible uprising or bankruptcy, needed a quick solution. Charles III and his mother, Princess Caroline, convinced the casino magnate Francois Blanc to move his famous Bad Hamburg casino to Monaco to ensure every single Monégasque franc stayed within the state. The state banned residents from gambling. Fun fact, 1 in 3 people who lived in Monaco are millionaires. There are 12,261 millionaires per square mile in Monaco at $186,080. It also has the highest GDP per capita in the world, second only to Luxembourg. Why do the wealthy love it so much? The combination of tax incentives, location, and luxury amenities is undeniably alluring. Monaco also has a poverty rate of 0. Most people who work in Monaco don't actually live there. More than 30,000 French and 5,800 Italian nationals commute to Monaco to work every day. Fun fact, Monaco has more police per capita than anywhere else in the world, possibly one of the safest places in the world. Monaco has 1 police per person per 73 residents. The police force includes a specialist unit that operates patrol and surveillance boats, as well as a militarized bodyguard unit for the palace. Safety standards are strict, with nationwide video surveillance, 3 police stations, and facial recognition. Police are selected from the French police force and undergo an additional 2-year intensive training to serve in Monaco. Prosecution also usually carries maximum penalty. Number 7. Alhambra, the Red One, is a palace and fortress complex located in Granada, Andalusia, and Spain. It is one of the most famous monuments of Islamic architecture and one of the best preserved palaces of the historic Islamic world. In addition to containing notable examples of Spanish Renaissance architecture, fun fact, you can be turned away at the castle even with a ticket. It is without a doubt that this palace is the most popular landmark in Granada. This makes it the most visited site by tourists. While the palace is open to the public, missing your time slot or showing up late will get you denied access. If you plan on visiting the palace, ensure that you arrive at the gate an hour early. This will ensure that you beat time, since there's always a long queue of tourists. The other reason is that there is a limit of people allowed in the palace in a day. Only 300 people are allowed in the palace in 30 minutes. Tickets to the palace sell like hotcakes, and some people buy their tickets months in advance. Another fun fact, the palace has an ancient cooling system. As you enter one of the courts in the palace, the courts of myrtles, you will find the goldfish pool. The Moorish built this pool to provide cooling for the interiors of the palace and was a symbol of power. This pool stands out from all the others. This pool is made of marbles and is surrounded by a sunken garden. Another fun fact, it took 3 generations to restore Alhambra Palace. Most of the features of the Alhambra Palace are originals with little renovations. Some parts of the palace were destroyed during the conquest, while some wasted away after it was abandoned. Earthquake also contributed to some of the damage at the palace. After the Spanish took over, they restored the palace, and this was done by the subsequent monarch. The most recent renovations done at the palace was in the late 19th century. Florence. Florence is a city in central Italy and the capital city of the Tuscany region. It is the most populated city in Tuscany, with 383,083 inhabitants in 2016 and over 1,520,000 in its metropolitan area. Fun fact, Hitler prevented the destruction of the Ponte Vecchio in World War II. During World War II, the German army was occupying the city of Florence. At the end of the war, the Germans were forced out of the city by the Allies. When they fled, they destroyed all of the bridges in Florence. Well, not all of them. Legends has it that Hitler loved the bridge so much that he instructed to not destroy it, and Ponte Vecchio was left untouched. Fun fact, Pinocchio was invented in Florence. No, Pinocchio wasn't invented by Disney. In fact, it was invented way before by a man named Carlo Collodi, born in Florence on November 24th, 1826. Fun fact, there's a shoes museum, the Museo Salvatore Ferragamo. The Museo Salvatore Ferragamo is a fashion museum in Florence, opened by the Ferragamo family. It contains more than 10,000 pairs of shoes made by Ferragamo, and it's any shoes lover. Number 5. London. London is the capital and largest city of England and the United Kingdom, with a total population of over 9 million. It stands on the River Thames in southeast England at the head of a 50-mile estuary down to the North Sea and has been a major settlement for 2 millennia. The city of London, its ancient core and financial center, was founded by the Romans as Londinium and retains boundaries close to its medieval ones. Since the 19th century, London has also referred to the metropolis around this core, historically split between the counties of Middlesex, Essex, Surrey, Kent, and Hertfordshire, which largely comprises Greater London, governed by the Greater London Authority. The city of Westminster, to the west of the city of London, has for centuries held the national government and parliament. Fun fact, London has an official smallest statue. In a city filled with grand monuments and huge statues, it's nice to know London has an official smallest statue, located on Philpott Lane. The statue of two tiny mice eating cheese is dedicated to two builders who fell during construction of the monument after an argument over a missing sandwich that they blamed on each other, but was actually the fault of a mice infestation. Fun fact, the Queen lives in Buckingham Palace. Although she has many other royal residences, the Queen still sometimes resides in Buckingham Palace. When she's home, you can see her royal flag flying from the flagpole. This flag, which is called the Royal Standard, must only be flown from buildings where the Queen is present. Fun fact, feeding pigeons in Trafalgar Square is banned. Trafalgar Square was once re-owned for housing thousands of feral pigeons, which tourists often fed or posed with. In 2003, London Mayor Ken Livingstone banned feeding them or selling feed near the square. They even went as far as using a hawk to keep them at bay, which evidently turned out to be. Number 4, Neuschwanstein Castle is a 19th century historic palace on a rugged hill above the village of Hohenschwangau near Fusan in southwest Bavaria, Germany. The palace was commissioned by King Ludwig II of Bavaria as a retreat and in honor of Richard Wagner. Ludwig chose to pay for the palace out of his personal fortune and by means of an extensive borrowing rather than Bavarian public funds. Construction began in 1869 but was never fully completed. Fun fact, Ludwig II never lived to see his creation fully completed. Although Ludwig II moved into the castle in 1884, he never saw it completely finished due to the various delays and setbacks, which put construction so far behind schedule. The Bower and the Square Tower remained incomplete until 1892, 24 years later. Before his death in 1886, the king had racked up substantial debt. In order to pay off these debts, the authorities opened the castle to the public as a museum just 7 weeks after his death. Fun fact, Neuschwanstein is the inspiration for the Disney castle. Walt Disney was so inspired by its fairy tale architecture that he used it to create Cinderella's castle in the 1950 cartoon film. Neuschwanstein is also the basis for the Disney logo, shown before every Disney film, and the Cinderella Castle in Disney World, Florida, and the Sleeping Beauty Castle in Disneyland, Paris. Fun fact, the building constantly needs repairs to stop it falling down. Neuschwanstein needs continuous work to remain in its highly preserved state. The limestone facades are damaged by the mountain-harsh climate and have to be renovated section by section over the coming years. Movement in the foundation area also has to be continuously monitored, and the sheer rock cliffs of the hill must be repeatedly secured to prevent parts of the structure slipping down. Number 3, Prague. Prague is the capital and largest city in the Czech Republic and the historical capital of Bohemia. On the Vltava River, Prague is home to about 1.3 million people. The city has a temperate oceanic climate with relatively warm summers and chilly winters. Fun fact, the official inauguration of Charles Bridge was at 5:31 a.m. on July 9th, 1357. King Charles IV was a very superstitious man who believed in astrology and numerology. That's why he erected the bridge following a palindrome, which is a numerical sequence you can read the same way from both ends. 1 3 5 7 9 7 5 3 1. Year, day, month, and time. Crazy Prague fact, isn't it? Another fun fact, Prague bears the nickname the City of 100 Spires. It got this moniker because of the 120 plus spires and towers you can find across the city, and these are just the large ones. Many enthusiasts tried to count all the spires and towers that dot the city. The total number they ended up with is between 500 and 1,000, excluding the small spires on residential buildings. This fact about Prague makes the Czech capital extremely extremely camera friendly. Fun fact, lots of ghosts haunt the famous Charles Bridge. Prague's most famous bridge, Karl Most, connects the Old Town to Mala Strana over the mighty Vltava River. Erected back in the 1300s, the bridge is supposedly haunted by ghosts whose heads ended up on nearby spikes. Locals claim they've seen them walking. Number 2, the Giranger Fjord is a fjord in the Sunnmøre region of Møre og Romsdal County, Norway. It is located entirely in the Stranda municipality. It is a 15-kilometer long, 9.5-inch mile branch off the Sunnmørsfjorden, which is a branch off the Storfjorden, better known as Great Fjord. The small village of Giranger is located at the end of the fjord where the Grangelva River empties into it. Fun fact, there's a king and a queen among them. Speaking of Sognefjord, although all of Norway's fjord are beautiful, 2 of them are so spectacular they have royal titles. Norway's longest fjord at 205 kilometers. That's 127 miles. Sognefjord is considered the king of fjords. It's located in Sogn-og-Fjordane, otherwise known as Fjord County. As for the queen, that would be Hardanger Fjord. It's the country's 2nd largest fjord and the 3rd longest in the world, running from the Atlantic Ocean to the Hardangervidda Plateau. Fun fact, 2 main waterfalls sit opposite each other in Giranger Fjord, while another of the falls form the illusion of a veil. Fun fact, from around May to October each year, visitors to Giranger Fjord can use the scenic Trollstigen road to view the impressive scenery, and there are designated lookout areas for people to stop at and enjoy the Number 1. Santorini is an island in the southern Aegean Sea, about 200 kilometers, that's 120 miles, southeast from the Greek mainland. It is the largest island of a small circular archipelago, which bears the same name and remnant of a caldera. It forms the southernmost member of the Cyclades group of islands with an area of approximately 28 square miles and a 2011 census population of 15,550. The municipality of Santorini includes the inhabited islands of Santorini and Teresia, as well as the uninhabited islands of Nea Kameni, Palaya Kameni, Espronisi, and Christiana. The total land area is 34,990 square miles. Santorini is part of the Tyra Regional Unit. Fun fact, the entire island of Santorini is actually a volcanic rock. It has taken thousands of volcanic eruptions for the island to be formed. In the last 400,000 years, the Santorini volcano had erupted over 100 times. Due to its volcanic nature, you can enjoy spending time on multicolored beaches during your holidays. There are the famous Red Beach and also black and white beaches. Another fun fact, the Lost Atlantis. Santorini is thought to be one of the possible locations for Atlantis. This is likely because historians have noticed the Minoan settlement of Akrotiri, discovered on the island of Santorini, was a developed settlement that was destroyed around 1500 BC due to the strong eruption of the Santorini volcano matching the myth of Plato. Another fun fact, in proportion to the size of the island, Santorini is the only place on the whole planet with so many wineries. 9 indigenous grape varieties are cultivated, including the famous Azretico, which is the most sought after Greek wine. Actually, there is so little rain on the island during the year that wine is more abundant than water. If you've enjoyed learning about the top 10 best places to visit in Europe and their fun fact, then don't forget to subscribe on your way out and comment down below which place in Europe would you like to visit. Enjoy!